In our modern era, hardly anyone talks about the historical freak show performers. The main reason is simple: most people don't even know about them, and some were sadly buried deep in the darkest corners of history. Their stories, talents, and struggles have been forgotten over time, even though they once fascinated and amazed entire audiences. Well, in this video, you are going to meet with top 15 forgotten freak show performers that have been buried in history. So sit back as we bring these lost legends back into the light, revealing the shocking and incredible lives they once led. 1. Craini, the missing link, the hairy girl. Audiences in the late 19th century often gasped as Craini stepped onto the stage, her body covered with dense hair that made her seem almost otherworldly. Born in Laos around 1885, she was discovered by traveling showmen and brought to Europe and America under the claim of being a missing link between humans and apes. By her teenage years, she had already toured across continents, astonishing crowds with both her appearance and surprisingly gentle demeanor. Crow's hypertrichosis didn't stop her from participating in playful stage acts, where she would dance, interact with audiences, and display an unexpected agility. Despite the commercial framing, she often demonstrated remarkable poise, carrying herself with dignity among the spectacle. In 1909, her performances at circuses in New York drew record attendance, particularly because her expressive eyes contrasted sharply with her hair-covered face. Number 14. Matias Bukinger. Matias Bukinger commanded attention without a single limb, yet his performances dazzled throughout Europe in the 1700s. Born in 1674 in Nuremberg, Germany, he entered a world fascinated by oddities, yet he carved a life defined by artistry and skill, rather than mere spectacle. Standing under 3 feet tall, he created intricate calligraphy that astonished both scholars and showgoers. His delicate hand-like stumps moving with surprising dexterity, music became another medium for Bukinger's ingenuity. He could play multiple instruments, coordinating rhythm with astonishing timing, despite his physical limitations. Throughout the 18th century, he performed in taverns, fairs, and courts, delighting audiences with magic tricks and sleight of hand that seemed impossible for a man of his stature. Even as he moved across cities and kingdoms, his reputation grew because each act combined technical mastery with theatrical flair. Number 13. Rola the Armless Wonder. Every crowd whispered in disbelief when Rola the Armless Wonder appeared, manipulating paintbrushes and pens with his feet as if they were extensions of his own hands. Born in 1892, Rola never had arms, yet he could dress, write, and even play musical instruments entirely with his lower limbs. Touring small towns and major cities alike, he made audiences pause, balancing performance with humor and precision. Observers often commented on the fluidity of his movements, as though each action had been meticulously rehearsed over years of adaptation. By his mid-20s, Rola was performing in circuses alongside trapeze artists and acrobats, blending seamlessly into acts that demanded timing and coordination. His unique skill with his feet allowed him to replicate gestures that most would perform with hands, creating illusions that astonished both children and adults. Number 12. Wilfred Westwood, the circus fat boy. Wilfred Westwood's massive presence could dominate a stage without a single word. Standing at over 6 feet and weighing more than 400 pounds, he became a traveling sideshow attraction in the early 1900s, billed as the circus fat boy. Born in 1888 in England, he was introduced to performance as a teenager, captivating crowds with sheer size combined with surprisingly nimble gestures. Despite physical challenges, he could participate in choreographed routines, balancing on platforms and interacting playfully with smaller performers. Creating striking contrasts that amused audiences, Westwood toured extensively across Europe and America, often performing stunts that highlighted his bulk in humorous and daring ways. In 1915, a tour in London featured him juggling oversized props, eliciting laughter and astonishment alike. His fame endured because of both spectacle and showmanship, with photographers and sketch artists capturing his image for print, spreading his visual impact far beyond the circus tents. Number 11. William Dirks, the man with two faces. William Dirks shocked audiences in the early 20th century with a visage unlike any other. Cyclopia left him with a single fused eye, creating the illusion of two faces merging into one. Born in 1890 in the American South, he was discovered by regional showmen and brought into traveling exhibitions. On stage, Dirks combined storytelling with subtle expressions, moving in ways that emphasized both his deformity and an uncanny sense of theatrical timing. Visitors often described the eerie effect of his face, yet many were drawn in by his quiet presence and gestures that conveyed humor and intelligence. Dirks participated in parades and carnival acts, sometimes paired with other performers, producing dramatic visual contrasts. In 1918, his exhibitions in New Orleans drew crowds curious not only about his unusual appearance, but also the intricacy of his performances, from mimed skits to interactive gestures with spectators. Number 10. Captain Constantinis, the tattooed Greek. Intricate ink patterns covered nearly every inch of his body, making Captain Constantinis one of the most visually striking sideshow performers of the late 19th century. Born around 1855, he claimed his extensive tattoos were acquired during travels through Asia, leaving only his face, hands, and feet untouched. By the 1880s, Constantinis was touring Europe and America, drawing crowds fascinated by the dense black designs that traced his torso, arms, and legs. The imagery ranged from geometric patterns to mythological figures, creating a patchwork that blended storytelling and artistry. He often demonstrated agility by moving across stages in fluid motions that allowed audiences to examine the tattoos in detail. Photographers and artists captured his body in portraits, adding to his fame. Performances combined theatrics with static poses, emphasizing both the scale of his tattooing and the skill required to navigate performance spaces. Get ready for Number 9. Marie Anjelique of France. Crowds in 19th century France whispered in disbelief when Marie Anjelique appeared, her dense facial hair framing expressive features in unusual symmetry. Born in 1838, she exhibited hypertrichosis while traveling with local fairs, blending stage performance with casual interactions with visitors. Unlike many performers whose acts focused on shock, Marie Anjelique incorporated song, humor, and storytelling into her presentations, captivating audiences beyond her appearance. Her beard, dark and meticulously maintained, became the defining visual element of her shows, sometimes contrasted with colorful costumes and props. She toured villages and cities, often drawing people from miles away who sought to witness her unique presence firsthand. Descriptions from contemporary newspapers highlight the interplay of her expressive eyes and beard, creating a striking theatrical effect. In 1865, she performed for a particularly large Parisian crowd, demonstrating dexterity with handheld instruments and props while keeping her beard in full view. Number 8. Admiral Dot, Cheyenne, the smallest Indian chief. At just 28 inches tall, Admiral Dot captured attention immediately. His diminutive size contrasted with elaborate costume and stage props. Born Leopold Kahn in 1875, he was presented as a 4-year-old Indian chief, despite being 17 at the time, touring with P.T. Barnum and other circuses across America. Audiences were fascinated by the illusion of childlike stature combined with adult composure, particularly during parades, tableau scenes, and choreographed performances. The act relied on a blend of scale and movement, with Dot interacting seamlessly with performers of normal height, creating optical effects that emphasized contrast. In addition to public appearances, Photographs and postcards documented his presence extensively, increasing his fame beyond the circus grounds. Touring schedules often spanned months, with stops in major cities and rural areas alike. His performances sometimes included small props or miniature instruments to maintain proportional illusion, requiring careful staging. Number 7. Fanny Mills. Visitors at Ohio fairs were often surprised by Fanny Mills' oversized feet, a physical feature that became central to her stage persona. Born in 1860, her condition, likely lymphedema or Milroy's disease, caused feet measuring 17 inches in length, requiring custom-made boots for her appearances. Mills toured extensively in the late 19th century, performing simple acts such as walking or standing in poses that accentuated her unusual size. Descriptions of her movements emphasize careful balance and slow, deliberate pacing, highlighting the contrast between her proportions and those of other performers. She often appeared in ensemble acts, interacting with fellow entertainers, and occasionally participated in photographic tableaux. In 1885, newspaper accounts praised the spectacle of her appearance, noting both her unusual physical trait and her capacity to engage audiences without complex acts. Her feet remained the focal point of exhibitions, sometimes compared to props or stage measurements to illustrate size visually. And the next one is number 6, Maryanne Beavenon. Maryanne Beavenon became widely known for her pronounced facial features, altered by acromegaly during middle age. Born in 1874 in England, she entered sideshows in the early 20th century, performing for audiences in fairs and carnivals. Beavon's stage presence emphasized subtle gestures and posture, often paired with everyday props or musical accompaniment. Reports from 1920s exhibitions describe her precise movements and careful choreography, drawing attention to facial expressions and costume rather than elaborate performance skills. The transformation caused by hormonal changes created exaggerated bone and soft tissue development, producing striking contours along her jaw, nose, and brow. Photographers captured her image extensively, circulating postcards and publicity material across Britain. Beavon's touring schedule included major cities as well as smaller towns, exposing diverse audiences to the unusual aspects of her appearance. Number 5. Henry Behrens, the living skeleton. Stage lights often highlighted the extreme thinness of Henry Behrens, a man whose body seemed almost skeletal under the glare. Born in 1873, he traveled across Germany and England, performing in tents that accentuated his lean frame. Each movement appeared delicate yet deliberate, as he participated in acrobatic sequences with surprising coordination. Crowds were intrigued by the contrast between his fragile appearance and the control he displayed during balancing acts or lifts. Behrens could contort slightly for visual effect, emphasizing the sharp angles of his limbs against the smooth lines of the stage. Newspapers from 1898 describe audiences watching him step across narrow planks and platforms, his body's dimensions challenging perceptions of human proportion. Photographers often captured him alongside props that highlighted his extreme thinness, from chairs to trapeze ropes. Visitors commented on how his gestures seemed almost exaggerated to accentuate linearity, creating a visual impression both eerie and mesmerizing. Number 4. Josephine Myrtle Corbin, the four-legged woman. Crowds often paused mid-laugh when Josephine Myrtle Corbin moved across stages, her four-legged anatomy creating a natural fascination. Born in 1868 in Tennessee, she possessed 2 separate pelvises and 4 legs, a condition known as dipygus. Performances highlighted symmetry and coordination. She could sit gracefully, adjust props, and navigate platforms with movements that drew attention to her unique physiology. Photographs from the 1880s depict Corbin seated at tables or holding objects with her upper pair of limbs, while the lower pair maintained stability. Her touring included both American and European fairs, often paired with acrobatic or balancing acts to showcase contrasts. Reports mention the careful choreography of stage entrances and exits, emphasizing how her extra limbs allowed unusual postures and unusual stability on narrow planks. Observers noted that she maintained a composed facial expression, which, combined with her mobility, created a striking visual impact. Number 3. George Lippard, the three-legged man. George Lippard's unusual physiology caught attention in early 1900s Europe, where his third leg and occasional extra kidney were documented curiously by medical journals of the era. Born in 1844, he toured Germany and later America, performing in stages designed to accentuate symmetry and highlight his athletic ability. The additional limb, positioned along the lower torso, allowed unusual movements that fascinated audiences during walking demonstrations or coordinated routines with standard performers. He occasionally used props such as chairs or small platforms to create optical illusions, showcasing the third leg in a visually striking way. Lippard's performances required precise timing. A misstep could disrupt the balance needed to present the limb effectively. Contemporary photographs display him seated, standing, and occasionally in mid-motion, emphasizing both his unique anatomy and surprising agility. By combining anatomical curiosity with performance skill, Lippard created an engaging display of human variation without relying on dramatic theatrics, leaving spectators intrigued by both physiology and movement. Number 2. Alice Elizabeth Doherty, the Minnesota Woolly Girl. Alice Elizabeth Doherty appeared at fairs with her hair-covered body, drawing attention immediately to the hypertrichosis that defined her physical appearance. Born in 1887, she began performing in the Midwest as a teenager, often positioned under natural lighting to emphasize texture and length of hair. Doherty's stage routines were simple yet visually captivating, involving subtle gestures and movements that allowed light to shift across her dense hair. Photographs from her tours show her in seated and standing poses, carefully arranged to maintain symmetry and reveal patterns in hair growth across limbs and torso. She occasionally used colored fabrics to create contrast against her natural hair, enhancing audience perception of volume and contour. Newspapers highlighted her ability to move gracefully, demonstrating that hair coverage did not impede mobility or poise. The combination of dense hair, delicate gestures, and minimalist props created a visually rich display, allowing spectators to appreciate the unusual trait in multiple perspectives during a single performance. Number 1. Olaf, the Human Seal. A contortionist by skill, Olaf twisted and curved his body to mimic the fluidity of aquatic animals on stage. Born in 1895, he performed in circuses across Scandinavia and later England, often using shallow pools or reflective surfaces to amplify the seal-like effect. Movements included rolling, bending, and arching, drawing attention to flexibility rarely seen among human performers. Stage props, such as low platforms and padded floors, were arranged to support repeated performances and showcase agility. Contemporary accounts describe audiences captivated by sequences that combined motion and illusion, with Olaf sometimes balancing small objects on his torso while executing extreme bends. Unlike performers who relied primarily on appearance, Olaf's act focused on movement, timing, and precision, creating a lifelike interpretation of marine agility. Illustrations from newspapers often exaggerated the fluidity of his performance, emphasizing curves and arcs that blended realism with theatrical exaggeration. The spectacle relied on the interplay between human anatomy and mimicry, producing a memorable visual that distinguished him from other contortionists of his era. Unlock the hidden corners of history and meet performers whose incredible talents and unusual lives left audiences spellbound. Witnessing their stories sparks imagination, curiosity, and wonder in ways rarely experienced today. If you want more journeys into the extraordinary, subscribe to explore fascinating tales that go beyond the ordinary. Drop a comment with your thoughts, favorite stories, or surprising discoveries, and share this adventure with friends who love history as much as you do. Thanks for your time and for following us till here.